Right, good morning, everyone. I know you're coming from your reflection sessions this morning, and I hope you were able to reconnect with some of your group members from Friday's session and to find some comfort and support in sharing your thoughts and hearing from others in your group. Unfortunately, this morning, we have terribly sad news to share about one of our Mad Canada family members, Maya Vizina. Maya and her mom, Pat, were hit by an impaired driver in 2013, and they both suffered life-altering injuries. Maya lived with chronic pain and ultimately suffered an opioid overdose just a few days ago, and she died Friday, May 26th of this year at the age of 29 years old. There's some irony um, in that timing. Maya was one of the first people I met at my first victims conference. We were both in the youth group, and I just remember being so in awe of Maya and the way she carried herself, the way she was so willing to talk about her story, her injuries. She held a very strong social media platform where she shared her struggles with chronic illness or chronic pain, and body positivity. She was just truly beautiful inside and out. And so this is hard this morning and heavy. And I know a lot of my fellow youth group members who knew Maya will find that as well. And some of our members even know her mom, Pat, who's also attended our conferences. So our hearts are definitely going out to them today, and to Maya's whole family. So her mom, Pat, her dad, Larry, and her brother and sister, Liam and Zoe. So if you're able, I'd really appreciate if we could have a moment of silence for Maya, and if you could stand with me. Thank you. It's hard to believe our conference is nearly over. But we do have one last keynote session for you, and I hope you'll find it very informative. Louise-Anne Lamoureux, our Director of Victim Services, and Meg Wetmore, our Victim Services in the Atlantic region, are going to talk about our Victim Services program and the supports and resources that are available to you. So I'd like to invite both Meg and Louise-Anne to come up to the stage, or Louise-Anne first. And for those of you who haven't met our social media manager,
You want it? Yeah, here. So, as Jamie Lynn pointed out, my name is Louise-Anne Lamoureux. You can't hear me? Oh, is this better? Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you, CJ. My name is Louise-Anne Lamoureux, and I am the new director of Victim Services for Mad Canada. And when I initially decided that this was the direction that my professional life was going to take, I had no idea of the impact and the amazing people I was going to meet. I knew it was going to be life-changing. I just didn't realize and couldn't comprehend at that time to what extent. So I want to thank you so much, so much for having the courage and the resilience to be in this room, to be open to sharing all of this, parts of you, sharing your pain, and introducing your loved ones to me and offering me that grace. So I thank you. So we're up here today because we want to tell you all about what MAD Canada services are available to you, to other survivors, to families. We want to talk to you about that. So if you'll indulge us for a little bit, um, we'll get going. So could we have the next slide? Oh, it's me that does that. I'm not the most. Everybody that had a group with me. No. Oh, there we go. So who are we? Um, we're a huge team. We are a huge team. And as amazing as everyone is, everybody has their strengths. And so we're made up of Jillian Phillips, whom some of you know, and she's the MAD Canada Western Victim Services Manager. We have Meg here, who is the Atlantic Victim Services Manager. Marie-Claude Morin, who is in Quebec, myself. And in addition to that, we have approximately 100 chapters and community leaders all over Canada. And we wouldn't be anywhere else without our victim services volunteers. They are phenomenal, and I am so grateful that we have them. So how did we determine what you guys needed? First of all, you need to know that MAD Canada is the largest and most successful victim organization in Canada. Since the beginning, we have been able to provide services since its inception. In 2013, there was a survey done where they asked, what is it that victims need? What is it that families need? And we listened, we heard you. And from that point on, victim services started addressing those issues. So what do we provide? We are there from the start, from the very start. Unlike many victim services that are provincially run, provincially directed, our services are there from the onset. So even if the court case is over or the investigating officer has retired or whatever, MAD Canada is here. And MAD Canada will always be here. And when we say that we stand firmly beside you, when you have to write that victim impact statement, we're not going to write it for you. We're going to be there. We're going to help you through that. We also provide accompaniment in court where that's possible, where we have community leaders present. We can provide that accompaniment to court for parole hearings, and encourage you and empower you to advocate for yourself. So we're there with you. We have monuments, memorials, we have support groups, and the support groups many of you know are wonderful, wonderful support groups. I was just in conversation with a group of ladies, and I don't even think they're back yet. Nope, they're not. They've connected in such a way that what we get back from them is that that is their lifeline, because no one else, not even family, no one else understands. So that's what MAD Canada is able to kind of knit together. And even last night, after the vigil, What we saw here was phenomenal. The candles were lit, and after the vigil, new friends, new connections started taking pictures, exchanging numbers, talking. There was laughter. And when I looked at that, it was okay, this is amazing. This is true human spirit. And I'm just honored to have witnessed that and to be part of that. As you know, you're here. We have our national conference as well. We have monuments across the provinces. We're getting a new monument in Ontario in September. We're looking at monuments. When are the ones in Atlantic Canada? June.
November's in, or sorry, New Brunswick is going to be in June. Nova Scotia is in September, and Newfoundland is in October.
Right.
Yeah.
So across Canada, and we're working really hard at extending that west as well. We're working on it. One of the many things too that Victim Services does is that we offer connection to the community. Because let's face it, when you're kind of thrown into these situations, many times you're left feeling like you don't know up from down. So we're there to support you, to look at your community, who can help you, who can be there, who are your contacts. We walk with you. We walk you through that. So that's what Mad Canada provides. It provides that support. It provides that notion of you're not alone. We also have a huge resources library. This is just kind of a sample of some of the materials that we offer when we talk about trauma and loss and bereavement, coping with life after an injury, and especially in situations where an impaired driver was involved. It's unlike any other kind of trauma. So it's important to capture that. And unfortunately, for many of the resources out there, they don't always. I didn't know I was going to get that part of it. There's also a guide to the criminal justice system, which is quite extensive. The guide to the criminal justice system is it's incredibly useful because a lot of the information that is in there should be related to you from victim services within the courthouse. And unfortunately, not every jurisdiction has that. So it gives you great guidelines as to how to navigate that. We talk about personal injury law. When someone you love drove impaired, living with a brain injury, witnesses, and more recently we have the Don't Call Me Lucky, trying to inform people of what it is to live after that type of experience. And men in mourning, because that's not the same either. Here are some of our publications: sentencing on impaired driving, the insurance systems in Canada, which are all different. So that's available to you. Our national conference for victims of impaired driving. So this is an annual thing. We bring delegates from all over Canada to be here, to be in this forum, to be in a place where they can breathe, to be in a place where they can talk to someone else that has experienced similar grief. We really focus our national conference on first-time attendees so that we could reach out and be able to provide that support after the conference. And from what I've seen this weekend, I think there's a lot of people that are going to be connecting with other people that they've met this weekend. And I'm so glad that we've been able to be part of that. As you know, the national conference has a variety of different reflection sessions. We have workshops, grief, anger, victims' rights, meditation, coping strategies. We even have a stream for youth. And then we have our quite special candlelight vigil of hope and remembrance. Perhaps, Meg, you can talk about the support group since, yeah.
Yeah, so Mad Canada offers online support groups. A lot of people are familiar with them, but then I've met a few people who haven't been involved in them. You can see the list of examples of our online support groups. So we have an injured survivor group, we have loss of a child, loss of a partner, loss of an only child, loss of a loved one. We have a dad to dad group, and we have a youth group. And these groups meet for about an hour and a half once a month, and you can find the new date and time on the website. So it's always up to date. And generally, if you've expressed interest, then an invite is sent to you via Zoom that you can register for. And become part of one of those groups. What I have found fascinating, especially on a weekend like this, is how close those who are in a Zoom group on a monthly basis become. I mean, there's friendships and family bonds made, and how powerful it is, even just in the vigil last night of how people stand for each other, just from having created a bond through the online support group. Erin Libby, who's here, and I co-facilitate in the Injured Survivor group, and that group, from an example of the widow group and loss of a partner last year, who created like a Facebook ongoing chat throughout the month from session to session. We've done the same, and it's amazing how how close everyone gets and how supportive everyone is. Just having found that. Ability to relate in so many different ways. So, if there's anybody here who's interested in one of those groups and has not ever received an invite, or is thinking seriously about maybe trying to attend, then reach out to one of us and we can make sure we get you in touch with the person who sends out the invite. I always tell everybody that there's no pressure. If you've shown up for one and the next month you have something going on, that's okay. If you've registered and you're late, that's okay. It's an open space. You come when you can. It's not formal, it's casual. You don't even have to talk if that's too much for you in the first little bit. And like if it's too much to tell your story and all you need to do like from that is to hear others, and their story and the conversation that's going on, that's okay too. So it's similar to this event where it's a safe place to be yourself and to get from it what you need. So reach out to one of us if it's something that you want to try, or just continue doing it. But it's a really cool aspect that we offer. Okay, so I mean, on the website, the website itself is a wealth of knowledge. So you've seen the resources; they are offered electronically. We can provide them, like with paper and via mail if that's something that you prefer. And so those are all on there, but we also have informational videos, and you'll also see like tributes and everything. So these are examples of videos that you can watch, and they're educational. So there's the parole process, there's how to prepare a victim impact statement, and there's discussions on the Canadian Victims Bill of Rights. You do.
The other thing that we have, and if you were here Friday, you saw that the recipient of our bursary was here, Cohen. And so that's something that we offer every year. And as you know, the bursary is named after our former president, Louise Joanne Twardy, who came to MAD Canada after her 16-year-old son, Mike, was killed by an impaired driver in 1999. The bursary is awarded to a student each year that aspires to have the same type of leadership, the dedication and the compassion that Louise had. And she demonstrated quite clearly throughout her lifetime. And in 2021, there were 10 bursaries that were awarded. So we are trying our best to support future leaders as well. Our provincial monuments, our memorial road signs, our online tributes, and you can see the online tributes on our webpage. the memorial road signs, if that's something that is of interest to you for your loved one, that's certainly something that you can connect with us, and we can help you and assist you in establishing the application for the memorial road sign. Our provincial monuments are an annual dedication. As I said earlier, we have the Ontario Monument that's going up September 9th. And the ceremony, the unveiling ceremony, should be quite amazing. Our online tributes are also available on our webpage, and quite comforting for parents, for families, to know that their loved ones are not being forgotten. It's quite moving to read through them and know that we remember. You've seen our traveling memorial wall. And we also have the memorial wall at the national office, which if you ever have a chance to attend the national office and to walk through, um, it's quite something. It's quite powerful. And the memorial road sign. The memorial road sign, if you decide that that's something that would be of interest to you, you can always connect with me, and we connect with MTO. There is a process in place to apply, and then MTO makes the arrangements, and we're able to honor the memory of your loved one that way. Yep. Yeah. There are other provinces that have different regulations. It's that program is being expanded. So definitely it's something that we could look into. Yes. Yeah. Cool. No, that's something that we can discuss with MTO, but generally speaking, it's near the site. There are other ways, however, like if we're looking at perhaps a memorial bench that would be closer to your home, that could be something that we could look into. Yeah. Any other questions? Hmm. Just injured. Yeah. Yeah, that, you know what? That's definitely something that we could look into. I'm not going to make any provinces, but that's definitely something, if that's of interest, victim services, we can look into that. Okay. We have our monuments, Manitoba, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Saskatchewan. The Saskatchewan one is amazing. I think that's in, is that you right? Alberta, Quebec. There's more to come with victim services. Over the course of the next couple of years, the plan is to really review what we're doing, look at some of the evaluations and the suggestions that you send us, because we're here for you. You tell us what you need. We're looking at outreach with various victim services across the country to expand our reach. We know that people who are in more rural areas are more isolated. We know how difficult it is, and we know how isolating these types of tragedies can be, and we have a tendency to isolate when something like this happens. So we're trying to work with a variety of different victim services and agencies across the country to make sure that services are available for everyone. There will be more opportunities for survivors to tell their stories, and we will keep you informed as time goes on. Mad Canada actually, for the first time, made a community impact statement. That is not something that is common. So I'm really proud to say that that is something that we're looking into to see how we can make that a more common process, something that the courts can get used to seeing and take into consideration. The provincial monuments in BC and PEI, we have as I said, the Ontario Monument on September 9th, and the Memorial Road Sign Program expansion to the Atlantic region and BC. And we're working hard to make that happen across Canada. Not yet. What is it? Sorry? Vancouver is going to be the likely location. Okay, thank you. So I wanted to take an opportunity to kind of introduce ourselves. Megan and I are kind of the last people to come in to the MAD organization because, as you know, or you may know, the people that are MAD, and that sounded strange. We're Martians and we're mad. The people that are the essence of MAD have all been with MAD for years and years and years. So Megan has been here for a little over a year, and I have been at MAD since January. So I wanted to take the opportunity and to introduce us and to talk a little bit about who we are. And so I'm going to allow Meg to introduce herself.
I don't know what to say. I was happy when Louise was hired because I'm no longer the newbie. And so there's no longer that spotlight on me, but here I am. So yeah, I represent Atlantic Canada, which is super fun to do. I am a mother of three, and what led me to this job, because I mean, a lot of people have asked me that. I've been working in the helping field since I graduated from university. I've worked strongly in the fight against domestic violence. And then trained to work with all victims of crime. That was victim services, provincial victim services. So when we talk about victim impact statements and community impact statements, I was knee deep in that for 6 years. I prepared people to testify. I was a support person on the stand for many children through sexual assault crimes. I worked with Major Crime Unit in Fredericton, New Brunswick very closely with all the homicide cases. I loved the courtroom. I loved being in there. I loved helping people through the process. And I just really saw the beauty in how it's such a foreign and terrifying process, and how just having the support of somebody alongside of you, how much difference that can make. So I was always like a helper, but life at home and traveling an hour in New Brunswick is very hard and weird to do. I know people from big cities look at me like an hour is nothing. It was something for me. So I got offered a job in my hometown as a probation officer. So I did that for 3 years, and that was challenging, but I mean, it's always beautiful to take on a challenge, working with offenders instead, because I'd never had. And so to understand the other side of things was interesting. I grew a lot from that, but it was fascinating to understand that a lot of the offenders I was working with had been victims themselves, and that's kind of how I approached, how I survived those 3 years. But it was oftentimes that I would have, people straight out of jail saying like, Meg, you're like probably way too nice for this job, because I always had a victim service hat on me. So it's just been my nature to want to help people. And when this position came up, I applied, but really only for the experience of an interview process, never dreaming that, I'd be qualified to take on a role like this. So it was pretty out of this world and surreal when I got the call to say that I got the job. I was pretty proud. And I haven't looked back. You know, it's a family, and I've never felt more appreciated really in an employment position. And work-life balance is beautiful. So I love it. That's how I'm here. I was not impacted by impaired driving. And it was interesting because when you first get the job, people are very curious, like, what brings you here? Have you been? So I haven't been, which so I've learned so much from the people I've met along the way. But what brings me here and why I'm here and why I'm going to stay is because I love helping. And I just feel like my ability to help is going to make a difference. And so I'm approachable, I'm a people person, and anybody across Canada is welcome to call me anytime. So that's me, Meg.
Thank you, Meg. And one of the amazing things about Meg is that she she kind of radiates this sense of acceptance and non-judgment. And it's just, and she's right. The moment that you get that call and you're told you have the job and you start meeting people, even via Zoom. But now I understand the little smile she had because inside she was going, I'm no longer the newbie. So now I get it. So when I was first told that I was going to be making this address, and Dawn said, just tell them a little bit about yourself. Explain victim services and what everything that we do, and just tell everybody a little bit about yourself. So okay, I'm going to do that. Um, I have big shoes to fill. The last guy that had this job, he's CEO now. So not only did he did a great job and the framework is fantastic, but now he's the CEO. Like he didn't even go anywhere else. He's just the CEO now. So I have big shoes to fill, which is why I have the little shoe. Well, not little, but big shoes to fill. Um, just to give you an idea of how we are that family at MAD. On the third day that I was at MAD, I was invited to attend the Ottawa chapter annual general meeting. And I was like, okay, sure, I'll go. Third day, third day. So I arrived, I was introduced to different people. I was introduced to Mr. Greg Thompson here, and Greg asked me, so how's it going? And I said, well, I think it's going well, but it's only my third day. To which Steve promptly replied, well, she hasn't left, so that's a good thing. I knew at that moment, I knew I was at the right place. So about 3 or 4 weeks into the new job, um, we're talking about this conference, the elements, the priorities. And again, Steve says, we're really fortunate because we've done this, we've figured out, what works, what doesn't work. And this is a well-oiled machine, which when you're starting in a new position, I can tell you, it's like, whew, okay, cool. Like people know they have a lot of experience. It's cool. Good. And then you get the schedule. And next to my name was the word keynote. And I was like, wait, what? Keynote? Are you mad? See what I did there? So, like many of you, for weeks before the conference, there's an emotional buildup that starts to happen. And it's not even a conscious thing, it's just it's coming. There were many things that had to be done, many tasks. Communication with team members had to be clear, concise, and consistent. There were a lot of moments, often right before I was trying to go to sleep. There were moments where it was like, oh, that's a great idea. And then I would have to write it down because the biggest lie we tell ourselves is, oh, I'll remember. You don't. So, my introduction, who I am, is I'm a French Canadian girl. And I was born and raised in Montreal. My parents joined the late 1970s exodus out of Quebec because there was that whole talk about separation. I spoke no English, um, which, my parents promptly addressed by plopping me in an English public school and said, débrouille-toi, which loosely translated means figure it out. And just as a side note, when you Google Québécois, this is what you get on Google. I kid you not. Poutine and Céline Dion. Well, I'm going to have to do something, but yeah. So, yeah. Well, apparently there's Céline Dion's up there. She owns, right? So, technically, yes. She did. I don't know if she still does, but you're right. The smoke meat sandwiches, absolutely. I knew you'd get a kick out of that. Yes. Yes. But they get this often they don't get the sauce right. So I think that's why they don't. I don't know. I'm just trying to be mindful. So whenever you're raised in that kind of environment where it's like, figure it out, you tend to learn really quickly um, to fix things, to look at things. And if I look back on it, I think it kind of set up the stage for a career in social work because it was about figuring stuff out and finding solutions. Um, as a result, I've raised my 23-year-old son who's now in the Canadian Armed Forces as a heavy-duty mechanic. I've raised him that way. As a social worker, I started my career working in the field of domestic violence as well. I spent several years with the Victim Witness Assistance Program in Ottawa, which was fairly new. That program was fairly new when I started. So when you say you work for the Victim Witness Assistance Program, many of my friends and families thought that I was actually busy relocating people and giving them new identities. Yeah. I worked for many, many years with the Assault and the Sexual Abuse Program as a clinician at the Cornwall Hospital. And it's there that my appreciation for and respect for nurses and health practitioners grew to a completely new level. I also learned that nurses have a very, very different sense of humor, which I completely appreciate. I also had the privilege and the honor of working in Northern Alberta for Child and Family Services. I was working in collaboration with Indigenous communities and elders councils. You have to understand that I represented those people that took their children away. I worked for child protection, and so walking into those communities was not always a welcoming thing, but I learned so much, and I listened, and I learned some more. So when I finally came back home to Ottawa, because I made Ottawa my home during university, I started working as a case manager and social worker for a rehabilitation clinic. So I worked with people who had been injured in car collisions of a variety of different levels of impairment and injuries. And it's during that time that I understood that there was a lot of brokenness in all of the systems, whether it was the criminal system, whether it was the civil system or the insurance system. There was a lot of loopholes. There was a lot of navigating that went on. And people were at a point in their lives where they were the most vulnerable, and they had to learn how to do that. So I became a program director, and not long after that, the opportunity to work at MAD came up. And let's face it, I look at the history, my work experience, I look at my own personal history, and I think everything that I've done so far has led me to these moments. And so I'm very glad to be here. The one thing that I'm learning as I advance in my career and in this job is that we can't always fix things. And I'm a social worker. It's bred into us. It's even in the job description, solution focused modules, solution focused approaches. It's all solution focused. There's not always a solution. The bottom line is that change is the only thing that stays the same. It's the only constant in our lives. And even when it's good, it's hard. But you have change that comes in and it pulverizes your life. And it comes at you from all directions and it devastates you. It creates anger, it creates feelings of powerlessness, and it creates fear. Going from a state of knowing the wheres, the whens, the whys of your life to being completely ignorant of what happens next and being at the mercy of some external force where your protective arms can't reach anymore. And then you have the torturous what ifs. They hold our happiness hostage because we torture ourselves with the what if I did this and what if I did that and what if that hadn't happened. And surviving those moments, as you know well, is often just putting one foot in front of the other. Eventually, we get glimmers, and those glimmers appear through all of that emotional scar tissue. You know, the stuff that's still holding you together. Often people find themselves thinking, it's been so long, why can't I just get over this? We know. We know we don't just get over this. We simply learn to live with a gaping wound. Life happens around it. Sometimes it scars over a little bit. Some days are better than others. And some days we recognize anguish somewhere in someone else's eyes. And for a moment we connect and the burden becomes a little bit lighter. And in that moment we can pause and we breathe. I'd invite you to take a moment to pause and take a breath and exhale. Remember where you are. Remember that you are here now. And look around. You're not alone. We can't undo these tragedies. We can only stand with you. Whether that's through our support groups, our one-on-one, with volunteers, our webinars, conferences, our awareness campaigns, we're there. We stand with you. And for those of you here today who are first timers, we welcome you. And we're so grateful and honored that you decided to cross that threshold and you didn't turn around, go back into your car and drive away. We're really glad that you decided to stay. We honor your presence and we respect the value of what you bring and whether or not you decide to share your story. We're honored to walk with you. We're honored to walk with you on this journey, on this path. And one of the things that I found absolutely amazing over the course of this weekend is that I got to actually speak and see live in person some of you that I'd spoken to on the phone or over Zoom. I've Zoomed with many of you. And if this were 30 years ago, that sentence would probably get us all in the HR office, but that's besides the thing. Thank goodness for technology. Just remember and know we're here. We're here with you and we're here for you. None of this here right now could happen or would happen without an amazing team. Amazing is not even the adequate word here. It's really not. So I want to take this opportunity right now, and I know I've said it before, but I really want to take this opportunity right now to thank everybody. Thank you, to thank our volunteers, to thank our staff, our VSVs. We can't do this without you. And so over the course of the next few months, our team is going to be looking at processes, ideas, see where we can improve, see what needs to be tweaked. And if you feel that you're ready to step into a volunteer role at some point down the road, I would invite you to check in with your local chapter and explore that possibility for yourself. And lastly, there's an evaluation form. If there's anything you feel this conference needs or victim services needs, or if you want to tell us anything, please complete that evaluation form. What do you need? What do you want to see happen different? This is the only way we know. So please let us know. So now for the next little bit, I want to open up the floor. I want to give you a chance to ask questions, comments. Meg and I are here for you.
Yes.
Yes.
Much prefer conversation than presentation.
Yeah, right? How did you guys, oops, here, I forget that I have to speak into the mic. How did you like your breakout sessions and your concurrent sessions? Did you find that that was helpful? Yeah. Good. Good. I see a lot of nodding faces. I saw a couple of people who asked me if we could make them longer. We can take a look at that. Yeah. We understand. Yeah. It is. It's not we wish that we weren't needed. And ultimately with the stuff that we do and everything that we're trying to support, the goal would be to work ourselves out of a job. That would be amazing. And I was chatting with someone today, and it's unfortunate that we have so many new faces. It's devastating. But at the same time, those new faces are so grateful for us, for us that we're here, that they have a place, that they found their people. We're grateful and honored that they are here. Yes. Stand up if you can. Okay. Okay. The lighting. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. It's really brighting. Okay. Good to know. Did you write that in the evaluation form? Okay, thank you. Oh, okay. Anybody else have any questions? Well, then let's move over to, that's right. Okay.
Thank you for your time, everyone.
Thank you. We really appreciate it.
Okay. So before we head over, I just want to say thank you to Louise and Meg for that great session. Our victim support services are the most important thing our organization does. And we do hope that if you haven't already reached out to your victim services manager or your local victim services volunteer, that you will do so. We will now bring our conference to a close. Thank you all for your courage and your strength in being here. We know it's an emotionally exhausting weekend. I can definitely empathize with that. Do we have votive candles left? Okay. There are a few votive candles left from last night's service, so if you did want to take one home and you didn't grab one last night, you can pick them up at the back of the room. Oh yeah, there is some. Yeah, thanks. Flowers? You are more than welcome to take some of the flowers home from the vigil bouquets as well. I just always have to check that they're available. That's why I'm asking Dawn. I have a note right here. See if they're available. Don't want to make promises I can't keep. I'd also just like to take a moment to thank our keynote speakers and our workshop presenters for spending time with us this weekend and sharing their insight and expertise. We're so fortunate to have such knowledgeable experts and presenters to help us along our journeys. And I know we will all take away some new ideas and new insights into the healing process. I would also like to thank, as always, the incredible IFL staff who have provided us with wonderful food, accommodation, and technical support this weekend. It makes us feel so special to be pampered in every way while we're here, and it is so consistent year after year. They're truly, truly phenomenal people. Every national conference for victims of impaired driving and candlelight vigil that I attend inspires me to keep persevering. I hope that each of you are leaving with a new sense of hope and motivation for the future. I feel that every time I leave one of these conferences, and I hope you do too. It's always our intention to give you the opportunity to share your story and learn from the experiences of others. My wish is that you're leaving with new friends, more information to help you on your journey, and some powerful memories from this weekend. Please keep in touch in the days to come. I know that I have many Mad Canada friends that I keep in touch with, thanks to email, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Remember, we're only a phone call, email, or DM away. On behalf of the National Board of Directors and the national staff, thank you for sharing this weekend with us. And I would now like to ask all of you to join us in the courtyard for our special dove release.